Hello and welcome back to Hellcase Cup 8. We're going to be going into our first match of the day relatively shortly, but of course we are getting further and further into the tournament after today, or including today. You could say there's 3 days left, Alex, and your bold prediction of Endpoint winning it, that went out of the window very quickly. Is there anyone you're leaning towards at the moment?
I don't want to lean towards anyone, Tom, or I'll curse them. So I
Or are there
feel
any
bad.
teams you want to curse?
No, I don't want to curse anyone. I'm a nice guy.
HAVU. No, I'm just. I'm sure I've probably got about 1 million angry messages from Finns, especially considering I'm wearing a shirt that says NaToSaphiX on it. So that might prove that I'm a little bit biased, but you know, being biased is fine when you're a commentator, right?
Yeah, no one gets angry at that.
You had
Never.
a Great Britain pen, so that's basically the same thing as me wearing a NaToSaphiX shirt and socks. But you know, we're looking at the lower bracket. This is where things are going to be heading for today. Hard Legion facing off against HAVU as our first match, and forZe versus Nordavind is a bit of a grudge match. I think that's going to be a really interesting game to watch. This one though, I'm not really sure what to expect because Hard Legion, they come in with a stand-in again, unfortunately, and this time it's for forZe, which arguable whether that's worse because forZe's their best player, at least in my eyes, and then svyat was their in-game leader. Yesterday they lost both, and that was, well, for the first half, very, very good. For the first, like, 9 rounds, they were 7-2 up, and then got banged out by Sprout. So, yeah, it's one of those scenarios where not only have we got Hard Legion with a stand-in, but we've then also got HAVU in sort of a weird scenario where I just don't think they're playing that well at the moment. Like, they played versus ESPADA, they dropped a map, they almost lost 2-0. That's a match that I expect them to take with relative ease, especially with how much we've come to expect from the Finns. The fact is, though, when it comes to online matches, they seem to be one of the teams suffering a lot more. And I think the reason for that is because, unlike most other teams in this tournament, in fact, I would say all other teams in this tournament, they're actually not playing that many matches. Like, let's even just take a look at the current matchup today. So if you go down, sure, they've got a fair few maps of Dust 2. That's what HAVU have. They played Mirage only 9 times. You've seen them play Nuke 11 times. Train 10 times, and 8 times 10 times. You go on the other side, 25, 10, 32, 16, 27. Like, that's a lot more maps being played by Hard Legion.
Yeah, even just in overall maps played in the last 3 months, you saw there, Hard Legion had 124, HAVU have 67. That's a stark contrast.
And 124 is not even that high.
No, that's like
I
average,
think
it feels
Endpoint
like, for this
had
tournament.
over 200.
No, I think they were at like 150 or
Really?
160. I think they tweeted it today.
I'm sure that the Max said something higher. Maybe I'm wrong, but even still, that's a hell of a lot of maps played. I know that a lot of the teams within this tournament will be under a similar boat, and I do sort of wonder if there's a balance, because I understand the whole, like, HAVU maybe not wanting to exhaust themselves. Maybe they just don't get invited to as many tournaments. I don't think that'd be the case because they are still a top 30 ranked team. So I feel like a lot of these tournaments will be sending them invites. But I think there has to be a balance. I think that the fact that a lot of the teams are playing so many matches every single day, in terms of individual skill, I think you have to be at a peak. Like, maybe you see like a slight problem with mentality. Like, you might just be drained, of course. Like, I definitely don't think that you should be forcing yourself to play 150 maps over a few months. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, there might be a balance there, because I definitely haven't seen the same sort of level I was expecting of HAVU. And sure, okay, like, you look at some of the losses they've had, Spirit, North, you can kind of forgive those ones, although again, North are a team which are questionable at times. Like, they've had some better results as of recent, but you still wonder where this roster's going. Hard for you, they should be winning that easily, and it looks like they did. But then there's some other matches like the one that we casted with ESPADA, where that's one I was expecting an easy 2-0. They almost got 2-0'd. In fact, they probably should have got 2-0'd, and they would have already been out of this tournament. So definitely hoping for a step up from HAVU in this one. We didn't really see the best of ZOREE, especially in a lot of the series we watched, which was disappointing because, well, when I got to cast him during Blast Rising, he was fantastic.
Are those odds right?
I don't know. They might be. I would expect HAVU to be favored, but I guess because
Yeah.
of recent form, maybe not so much. Hard Legion.
With a stand-in, though.
Yeah, but
I guess we'll
they
see.
played with the standard, two standards
True.
yesterday, and they still managed to make it competitive. So maybe people believe in Hard Legion. The thing that worries me is, okay, sure, Forrester didn't play particularly well yesterday, but normally he is their best player, like consistently best player. I guess Krad is the one where if you look at like highest highs and maybe lowest lows, he's probably in there a little bit better. The kinqie had a really good match yesterday as well,
True.
which I'm not sure is necessarily going to be recreated. That's why I actually worry for this team a little bit, because the one map that was close, the map that went to OT, was based off him and Denis basically just fighting off against each other for the whole map. Then in the next map, he didn't show up, and
Right.
sure we had was it Neelan standing in?
Yeah.
And he was fantastic for like the first 10 rounds, and then the second he fell off, the whole team fell apart. So
Yeah, and he's not the stand-in they've got today either.
No.
They've got Throne again, who looked okay at times. Like, his
Yeah.
aim looked fine. There were a couple of decisions he made that seemed a bit off, which is kind of what you expect for a player standing in here. I wonder over on the HAVU side of things, though, I wouldn't be surprised if they did take a break after Flashpoint, because I imagine just being over in NA for such a long time, maybe they come back, they see their families and friends, and they're back in Europe. They might have just taken some time off, and maybe they're just trying to ramp up and get back into the swing of things here.
Potentially.
But this is a game that really they should have to win it against a team like Hard Legion with a stand-in. I think if HAVU want to prove that they are still one of these teams in Europe that can continue to try and play at the top level and can continue to try and upset like they did at Flashpoint, then they've got to be winning these sorts of games.
Well, that's the other thing as well, is that after like doing so well at that event, I think a lot of people started to almost taint them as a team that could be like a consistent top 20 even team. At the moment, I'm not even sure they're looking good enough to be a consistent top 30 team. Like and that's a shame, because they did look so fantastic, but I do think that they're one of the teams truly suffering from online performances. And although we've given a lot of teams some slack, we've seen teams like coming into their break period, so you can maybe forgive them a little bit. This will be a chance to reinvent themselves once again. I think for a team like HAVU, the goal in this tournament has to be to win. And at the moment, they're clinging on to life, which are polar opposite to what we've seen from them so far.
Yeah, we see the tournament results for Hard Legion so far. They got that early win against Endpoint. I mean, that in itself was a game that was complete chaos at times and went very back and forth, and Hard Legion had to get some comebacks going to win that series, but they did it. And then there was that game we saw against Sprout, which was not exactly the same Hard Legion. Well, not even the same players, sadly. Over on the HAVU side of things, I assume that's what we'll be looking at now. They were able to get a win against ESPADA. That was previously in the lower bracket, but they started out with that loss against Nemiga. We haven't been too impressed, like you were saying. We haven't been impressed, especially because ZOREE's been quiet, but also sLowi is someone that we look at who's struggled as well. And just in general, individually, we've talked about the fact that HAVU don't look as sharp as you'd expect for a team at this level. So I really think that's the main thing. Hopefully they can get back into form. Hopefully they can get back into shape individually, because that still seems like the biggest factor to me that's missing for them. It's not like their team play's been terrible or anything.
Yeah.
It's just they're losing a lot of fights.
Well, yeah, I think the pinnacle of that was playing versus Nemiga, because Nemiga are the opposite at the moment. They're in massive amounts of form. You're seeing on an individual basis, like all of their players, even players that you wouldn't necessarily expect, like for example, Box has like games where he just pops off. And against HAVU, they were by far the better team. Like it was 16-10, 16-8, wasn't even really that close. I think on Dust 2, which I believe was the choice of HAVU, it was a 12-3 T-side half for Nemiga. So that's unacceptable. Like, that's against a team they even chose to start CT side HAVU, and they managed to get just 3 rounds. Like, that's a team that not only, again, should they be at least competing against, they should be beating. So the fact that Nemiga came in here and again made them look like fools is a worry. And I then you kind of get to the point where you're going, okay, can you really just be like, oh, it's online Counter-Strike? Like, no, you should be better than this. So I'm hoping that we'll get to see them perform well today, and then they can have that climb back through a tournament, because, of course, a single loss and a sort of cagey affair, if they can now come back up and win the tournament, then nobody's really going to be thinking about those early problems. That's something that we see a lot of legendary teams do. Like, Fnatic always love to take the toughest route with the most amount of maps to get themselves to a final, so maybe HAVU are looking to be that same sort of team and have those earlier problems and then go, okay, now it's crunch time, now we have issues. Na'Vi were like that again in the RMR. They lost early on and then fought all the way back through. But the thing is, Na'Vi have something that I feel like HAVU don't, which is such high individual skill to bail them out of situations when they're not playing their best Counter-Strike. HAVU, on the other hand, I think the fact that they are such a well-structured team, basically a group of players that seem to work off each other so well, enhances the skill level that they already have. And when you lose that sort of when you lose that synergy or when things go a little bit wrong, you start to see that maybe ZOREE can't carry you through a round, or maybe some of these players will fall off a little bit. So today is going to be crunch time. Of course, we're going to be kicking it off on Overpass, which, without even looking, I will assume is the choice of Hard Legion.
Yeah, Hard Legion chose the Overpass, which, I mean, I get it. It's a map that's normally good for them, but it's also a map where having a stand-in feels like it can be very, very scary at times. I think the CT side isn't as bad, but it's T side where if you just miss some nades or you make some silly mistakes in terms of rotations, the slow play, I think, just leaves more room for individual errors, which is something we'll be looking at here on the Hard Legion side. I think Throne could be susceptible to that. But yeah, just want to get into this now, because this isn't a map that HAVU play too often either. I think they have 8 maps played on Overpass in the last 3 months. So even for a team with low activity, that is not much on Overpass. And I think this is a map that could actually kind of suit the way that HAVU play. I'm surprised they don't maybe play it a little bit more, or at least have a little bit more success on it, because it normally does suit those structured teams, those teams that like to play it slow. So I'd like to see HAVU on this map. I want to see if they can compete here.
Yeah, this is one that worries me a huge amount for Hard Legion, though, in terms of their T side. Like, CT side, I feel like they can probably get it through, but their T side, at least in, like, the upset victories or the big victories they've had versus better teams, forZe has been such a big deal. Like, if you go back and watch the Na'Vi performance they had, where they upset them in the first RMR, forZe was the best player in the server by a country mile. Like, he was just out-fragging everybody. He was taking individual duels, and he does that quite regularly. He's a talented youngster who just has sick aim and can basically wreck anybody on the T side. So you lose that from your squad, and I think they're going to have a severe reliance on the likes of Krad and maybe kinqie to step up once again. Either way, we are going into our pistol round. A reasonable amount of utility invested into by HAVU, and they have shown themselves early in the round towards mid, so there is at least going to be a decent amount of information. You can see the CT side already getting aggressive elsewhere. They've taken the B water control on short, and they've also rotated an extra player into the A site.
Yeah, and this is that slow style of play on Overpass that I was talking about. I think it's fair to say Overpass is probably the slowest map we have in the pool right now. Some rounds you can go for quick B rushes, but especially over at A, you've got to work for map control to begin with. And, oh, nice shot from Rage on the A site. He's still got more to do, though, as his teammate's been dealt with. Rage staying alive behind this position, but Krad gets 2 of his own. Eventually, the trades come in from ZOREE. Great shots with the P250, but the rotations arrived. Thrown with 1 of his own, and it's into the 1v1, which Saw will close out. Much sharper shooting from HAVU here to start the day.
Yeah, good start from them, and a T-side pistol round is always something you would desire, as it gets you off to that good start and leaves the economy a little bit more awkward for Hard Legion. You can see the chances are they are going to force into this one, not wanting to come in with just the bare bones rifles in the next round, and even having an SMG and a scout is not too bad a situation. Seems like svyat might be saving up some extra cash just to make sure that his team will be able to get the AWP when they desire it, and in all honesty, I like that. I think that's something they were definitely missing yesterday, is that, it sounds harsh, but almost sacrificial lamb. Someone who's going to be there to set up the remaining players, set up the stars of the show. Unfortunately, one of his stars of the show are missing today, but hopefully he can set up someone like Rage instead, who is, by the looks of it, going to hit that first shot.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see Rage get more active in this sort of game where he should have a bit more freedom. Ooh, dear. Krad gets flashed in for the fight, but doesn't get the kill onto ZOREE. Comes close, but not close enough. ZOREE surviving on 13 points of health. And now there are no more nades left for the CT. So the early flashes they used to try and get an advantage have now slipped away from them. It's HAVU who have plenty of nades left to close out this round. Rage will be boosted up over the top, though. This is a good play just to get some information back. Hard Legion will realize A long is clear, and that could prompt them to rotate down to the B site. And if they do stack B, that's always a site that can be risky to push on the T side in this sort of round when the pistols can play up close. So with 3 stacked on the B side of the map, Maybe Hard Legion have a chance to do something here, but sLowi's about to spot this man. Oh, the reaction's a bit too slow. kinqie gets that kill, and now HAVU kind of have to commit to B.
Already, Throne is going to pick up a second for Throne. In fact, he gets 3 kills off the back of a deagle. That is messy. A big surprise. Maybe he's going to be the man to step up today, as that is now going to leave just Saw alone. A bomb plant would be nice, but the chances of achieving that are so slim, especially with the positions of these remaining players, and svyat already waiting on the site. Saw has realized keeping that AK into the next round is definitely going to be more beneficial. And for Hard Legion, they're trying to retrieve some of this weaponry, but he's done a decent job of defending it.
Yeah, again, I really like that boost they went for over on A long there. As soon as the smoke went down, they just boosted over it. They saw that no one was A long, and at that point, you can be fairly certain if A long is clear that it's not going to be that fast A play. So they just decide to take a gamble, rotating down to B, and then it's just all about Throne landing shots up close. But the fact they had more players ready to back Throne up if needed, just a good decision by Hard Legion, a good bit of information gathered. And it gets them their first round on the board. And now it's only that one saved AK that they have to be worried about here. And the Deegs. Never underestimate the Deegs.
Yeah, they can also juggle this weapon around as well, so I wouldn't count HAVU out of this round just yet. Krad's still trying to play aggressive. He's definitely one of the more hit and miss players within Counter-Strike at the moment, but if he can get rolling, he can be a force to be reckoned with. Bit of a dicey spray, but he will get away with it, and there isn't an opportunity for a trade. Doto just looking to try and find the kill, and hey, Krad's going to walk right in, and Saw has caught another one. This is a problem, though. Throne finds him through the wall. He gets stuck on the door. It's almost adorable, as now we have this push back onto the A site. Not much in terms of weaponry. Saw now low on HP. Disappointed we haven't seen that rifle switched over. ZOREE with a nice shot though, and actually sLowi's caught one more. It's left all onto kinqie to try and save them here, but he's got great positioning. The aim is a little bit off. And now into a 1 versus 1. sLowi to try and save this for his squad. It would be a huge round to win. Trying to peek with the scout. He even hits the tag, but unfortunately it's not to the face.
Yeah, very close round at the end of it there, but kinqie saves his team. Hard Legion, I think, giving away quite a few 1v1 fights, which is always risky in this sort of round. Here's Throne almost not getting the wallbang kill, but just about connected, the single shot that was needed. Yeah, I think HAVU maybe could have got that bomb down a bit sooner on the A site. They did take a bit of time to actually get it planted, but I don't think they quite realized how open the A site was to begin with. So maybe that's why they took a little bit longer clearing out those positions. And then unfortunately, when HAVU tried to get the bomb down, it was too late because the rotation from kinqie was already there. So good round from him. And now HAVU go for another force spy. See, if they got the bomb plant in the previous round, they probably could have just saved one and bought into the next. But now without the bomb plant, they have to go for another force spy here. And this time it's really not great, but the Tech9 wins out the opening fight anyway.
Yeah, the Tech9s really can be scary, especially on a map like Overpass, where the B site gives you a lot of close-range duels, especially with the amount of utility that HAVU have actually invested into here. There's a chance for them to make some space, and they're waiting for Krad. Timing's going to be everything, and Saw just decapitates him. It's good to see this man performing once again. Definitely one of the more exciting players to watch when he's playing well. For the T side now, they're going to start throwing in some grenades to the other side of the map. Nice double spray down from kinqie. Takes some damage in return, but he's dropped the bomb. And the fake really hasn't done a thing, as the CTs have now seen the bomb in water, and while the rotation can still go back in the other direction, but they may just try and pressure kinqie, who's low.
svyat emerges through the smoke at Heaven, and he gets 2 kills as a reward for his troubles. Make it a third. Well worked by svyat there, making sure he could help his teammate on the site. And Hard Legion get themselves up to a 3-1 lead, up to an early lead, which is nice for them because they're going to continue to force HAVU's money down low. And kinqie's had a pretty solid start to the game as well. Spray transfer was well taken. And then he sets up svyat to be able to trade off the back of him, getting the assist on one of those kills as well. So good stuff from Hard Legion early into this game. And wow, HAVU have forced up again. They are just loving these force buys right now, Tom. This one feels very risky, because if you lose this, you could go 5-1 down before you get a proper buy on the board.
Yeah, I can't tell if this is a level of disrespect or overconfidence, but yeah, they're taking some heavy risks and just giving Hard Legion round after round. If they get a bomb plant here, it won't really matter too much. It'll probably set them up to at least get a full rifle buy, but yeah, this is a questionable decision coming in from HAVU. We'll see if they make it work. If they do, of course, they're going to really put the pain onto the economy of Hard Legion. That's all they've really wanted to do over the last few rounds. Just win one, and then they're basically set. The problem is, at the moment, they're failing to do the first part of that task.
Yeah, I guess they're hoping that if they just go all in every round, eventually they'll break their opponents. It's like when you start losing money on roulette and then you keep on thinking, but it's a 50-50 chance. If I just double the money that I've lost, then I can win it back, right? And then that always goes terribly. Always gamble responsibly. Soar's onto the A site, but he's not going to get much done with it. svyat was there to stop him, and finally the AK will try and make the difference. ZOREE moving into B, but it's not going to happen for him. Hard Legion with a team ace, and I think HAVU will finally have to just take a half buy ahead of this next round.
Yeah, I felt like they should have done that in the last round, though, so I'm not going to be holding my breath on this one.
I mean, this time Hard Legion have got a bit of more money saved, though, because they survived with all those players. So I feel like that might be the difference. And you want to get a gun round eventually.
Oh, fingers crossed. They have still invested a small amount of money, but this time they do have maximum loss bonus coming up into the next round, so not really too much of an issue. We've seen them invest into some HGs as well, which I think this is probably my favorite map for seeing nade stacks. I think Astralis sort of started the trend, you could say, with like actively looking for nade stacks to kill off certain players, especially on the B site. But there's been a few spicier ones. I enjoyed, I think it was MiGHTYMAX Gaming when they actually upset Na'Vi, had a few nade stacks which they utilized to basically just kill off players towards Monster. They would throw them all over the top, and every single time Flamey seemed to catch them in his hand. So it definitely can work. Unfortunately, everybody is dead.
Yeah, it can work, just not this time, apparently. Because Hard Legion have already got those 3 kills to start the round off. Yeah, it is always fun seeing those nade stacks on this map. Oh, ZOREE's been spotted. I think especially if you know that a player is very much going to play the same position at the start of the game, that's where those nades can be especially viable. But this time round, no nades really doing a significant amount of damage. And speaking of damage, it's up to doto to see if he can get any kills. Good shot onto the first man, but that's all they're going to get out of it. Hard Legion now with a bit of money built up, a good lead, but here comes the first buy for HAVU. And ZOREE unable to buy the AWP, so he decides to go for the SG instead. He's one of the players that has been doing that.
Yeah, he seems to enjoy the weapon still. It gives him that one-tap capability as long as he hits them in the face. But we'll see. This is where they really need to start putting the pain onto the economy of Hard Legion, because they have already started to build up a fair bank of cash. Like svyat around $8,000 already. Rage looking for the lineup for that initial shot, and he's going to find it as well. I'm liking seeing him be a little bit more proactive, because that's one of the only real criticisms I've had of him as an AWPer is a lot of the time it seems like he's put into more passive spots, which I feel like doesn't utilize his talents. Krad loves to live within the smokes, but Saw sees him. Gets that first kill. Rage, I'm surprised he hasn't been hurt. It seems like somebody's given the information over, but it's going to be okay for Rage. He will be able to escape after the missed shot. Utilizing the smoke and trying to just spot over the top. Throne in the meantime, again, being fairly proactive with his plays, taking control of the water and making things a little bit awkward for HAVU in these aggressive spots. It seemed like Hoody's definitely aware of the potential of someone being here. But if he crosses over, this could be the problem. It's going to come down to timing, because Throne's looking in the wrong direction. He realizes just a second too late. He'll get a kill, but it's still only a trade. And now, well, with the majority of this CT side ready and waiting on the B site, we're going to see HAVU push.
Yeah, not too many nades for them either. They're using their utility, though, and kinqie's been cleared out, but doto's got 2 players to deal with. Bomb goes tumbling onto the site, but doto should be able to get that down safely. Hard Legion could use that time to try and close the distance, and ooh, shots are landing. They're not doing any real damage though. Doto's flash unsuccessful, but the trade is there for Hard Legion. Double peek from the CTs. Rage makes sure to land his shot, and Hard Legion keep on rolling here with a 6-1 lead now. That round didn't look too bad from HAVU to begin with. They at least got those trades into the 3v3. But I think in part because of their lack of nades, they felt like they just had to commit to the B site hit at that point. And unfortunately, Hard Legion already had the rotation down. So that did not go according to plan for HAVU. Make sure to check out Hellcase. You can use the code SLTV15 for a 15% refill bonus. And thankfully for HAVU, with that bomb plant, they can continue to buy because of their big losing bonus. So they keep the pressure on here ahead of round number 8.
Yeah, still not actually investing into the AWP. So they could have bought one over and handed it to ZOREE, but decided this time just to go for the AK. Be interested to see if that does come up, even as just a counter to the mid-aggression that's coming up from Rage. Also looking to challenge onto long. Here goes Krad, looking for the opener, and he'll find it as well. Hoodie unable to do anything. Now, he's only got 13 HP, and he's still pushing this. This is sort of the good and bad of Krad. It's such a risky play to take. I don't know if they'll be expecting it because of it, and it might actually work. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right thing to do. But he is going to be spotting so much information. So yeah, he's seen the bomb. It's all whether or not ZOREE gets the timing right, or if Krad is just going to be coming in from behind. This could be absolutely perfect. Looking to try and get more than one kill. He will only get one, but he's done enough for the future of this round. A nice play from Krad, but as said, hella risky.
Yeah, and again, it's just a question of whether HAVU are aware of these sorts of plays at the start of the game or whether they'll catch on to it as the game goes on. sLowi not ready for the man at truck. And that is Krad just basically picking apart the push by himself, getting the information, allowing Rage to push in from behind with the AWP as well, because he knew that the mid position was entirely clear, so the AWP could push up and get one of his own. So Krad definitely facilitating his teammates to get some kills in that round and making sure he gets 2 of his own. So basically won the round by himself. And I think this is the kind of game where Krad does need to do stuff like that. If you're going to have a stand-in, Krad needs to be making those risky plays. It's just a problem as I feel like once HAVU start to figure out Krad's going to keep on playing so aggressively, they're the kind of team that should be able to counter it. But so far, HAVU have had nothing for Hard Legion here in these early rounds, and they haven't got much to work with in this one either. It's just the pistols and the one MAC-10 ready to burst onto B. Second smoke dropped by kinqie. HAVU again want to go back to B here with the full rifle round. I mean, those flashes were somewhat effective in the previous one, but Throne was still just able to spray onto that angle even when he got blind and get those 2 kills. The difference might be this time HAVU having some players on short as well, although they've got to be a bit careful of connector where there are 2 CTs waiting. So if HAVU time the push wrong, if they use some nades early, they could actually be caught from connector, they could be caught from 2 sides. And in comes an initial smoke into the B site. Some nades being used by HAVU, but they're not fully committing to B. They're going back. The problem is, Rage has a clear line of sight, but he misses his shot. Oh, and he actually gets dinked through there, down to 44 health. This is a really confusing round across the board, but HAVU now going back, slowing it down. They've lost that first fight. They're trying to see if they can get connector, and Krad is caught on the wrong side of the smoke.
Yeah, Rage, at minimum, needs to get a kill here. And they've got some counter utility, but he's quick on the flick and then runs right into the hands of sLowi. Good work from HAVU to at least section him out. The problem now is the time. 20 seconds left, the rotation coming into the A site. They do go pushing. kinqie just knows he needs to try and drop that bomb. That's the main goal. Flashbang actually leaves a teammate blind. It's a little bit disjointed and the bomb has been dropped. This round might just be over. ZOREE, he doesn't even have time. It doesn't matter if the kill comes in. I'm not sure what has just gone wrong there for HAVU, but they just go a little bit too slow. I think even team flash in the middle of everything. And then I'll just allow a 9th round onto the board. And I believe we do have a player dropped from the server as well.
Yeah, I think HAVU might just be better off holding a more standard default setup at the start of these rounds. Because, again, they put all their players over at B at the start of this one. They were hoping they could then fake B and go back towards A. The problem is, firstly, the rotation between the sites is very, very long. And the second problem is that Hard Legion have been pretty aggressive and pretty sticky in connector. So as soon as you start rotating back round, they're probably either going to hear the steps or they're at least going to have those players in con that are going to be able to cause issues for you. And you see that HAVU take a lot of time having to clear out connector, and then kinqie just arrived back on the A site in time because of the information his teammates got for him. And those odds over on Unicorn have favored Hard Legion still, but I think they have been switched around slightly from what we saw in the pre-game. With such a strong start, though, Hard Legion getting themselves into the lead in terms of the odds, just because I think HAVU have been so flat so far. And Hard Legion have done what they've had to do. They've had some solid holds. As we appear to be going back live into the game. We have got everyone back on the server, but we haven't got much in terms of the buy over on the side of HAVU, mainly just that AWP that was saved by ZOREE.
Even still, sLowi's going to get tagged, and the nade even catches him afterwards to just put him a little bit further down on HP. Hard Legion looking very good at the moment, and Krad, please don't do it. Please, Krad, it's just mean. It's mean. What? He's just taken 2 kills. How's he managed to get away with that? He's just styling on them at the moment.
Surely he doesn't go up the ladder, but he does. He's Krad, so he does.
Of course he does. What do you mean?
Krad is absolutely mad.
I would have expected nothing less at this point. ZOREE is going to be sneaking his way down. Of course, needs to stay scoped in, otherwise he will give his position away. svyat is going to be waiting, but I believe he's still watching into middle at the moment. But if he starts getting a bit more aggressive, that could be perfect as he plays further into the corner. It's a missed shot from ZOREE. Now looks to try and throw the incendiary to force him out, but the same is done by svyat. Keeps the man advantage strong and leaves only 2 players remaining for this attacking side. svyat in a prime position to close this one out, and he'll get both kills. 10-1 for Hard Legion. HAVU are yet to wake up in this match.
This is the sort of round where I think Krad should switch it up, though, because they've seen him in connector now a couple of times. He knows that they've seen him playing aggressively, and a good team on Overpass can pretty easily trap you in that connector and just flush you out from both sides. It's normally a spot that the CTs will play occasionally, maybe to just throw a spanner into the works, but it's very difficult to play in con every single round. And sometimes Krad can just get caught going back to the same spot over and over again, but this time he is switching it up, so I'm glad that Krad is switching up his positioning. He's playing over at A long with Rage there to assist him. And you can already see at the start of this round, HAVU are putting a bit more presence into connector. Hoodie's just going to hold this, and then I think HAVU are going to start to make their way through mid to try and clear that con out. The difference is, this time there's no CT playing in connector, so Hard Legion won't be in trouble in the early round. And the A long hold might be successful for them if someone peeks this, but it's actually Krad who's taking matters into his own hands, because why the hell not?
Yeah, he has changed his spot in this round, so instead of connector, he's going to be lurking around long. The only worry is it does give them a decent path on towards the toilets and towards the A side. Now, Rage is trying to keep an eye on this, and svyat is also watching into mid. But they've completely negated this. I like this. They've almost just taken the decision not to go this way, although sLowi has a little bit of a peek, and that might actually give the game away for the remainder of the players. Also, the push coming through long. Krad is perfectly positioned. svyat probably realizing now that it's more important not to just go down without much of a fight. The Molotov pushed into his position, and the peek actually gives Rage an extra kill. Nice shot from sLowi, though, and a second for him. This could be a turnaround for the side of HAVU. They're in desperate need of it. Still, the fight comes through from long, and they've got to be wary of Krad still making his way through from Banana. Wrapping his way in. Saw will need to turn around, and he gets it perfect. Here's the footsteps of the man running. Leaves it down to just one remaining, and Rage is going to do his best to save this orb.
Yeah, I like how Hard Legion started this round, but I don't know if Rage is going to be able to end it with a save. Oh, missed shot again, and he's not going to get away with it. sLowi's 2 kills to begin the round, end up turning into 3 at the end. I think that Hard Legion made some pretty good decisions to begin with. I like that Krad was just waiting along and not pushing initially, because one of the players started to move into his position, and he heard the steps and got a pretty easy kill. Then I love how svyat and Rage played together to make sure they could line up those kills between them. The problem was the players rotating up from B didn't really get the information in time to get into good enough position. So sLowi was able to move into bank, and that's always going to be a good fight for the T's to take. And as soon as he gets those 2 kills back, it's anyone's round from that point. So good stuff from him. Finally, some of the individuals showing up on the side of HAVU. Let's hope that's set to continue, because we want a competitive game here, and so far it's been rather one-sided. Rage playing in connector in this round with the orb, and he could be trapped there if he's not careful. Krad gets flashed in for some aggression. It works for him as well. Good flash from svyat, good kill from Krad, and Rage has got a kill of his own. Krad goes through the flames, and sLowi definitely heard that. He gets a kill. He gets 1 in reply for HAVU, and he might be looking for more here. He's going aggressive. The flash has blinded him, and he misses the spray. svyat doesn't have any ammo left, though, so surely he's in trouble. Oh, God, it almost went against Saw, but he just about wins the fight.
Oh, Doto's actually made his way out onto the B side, though. Now, they know that they've given this up. Throne, actually playing a fairly interesting spot. If he just keeps watching this angle, a man might just walk straight into his crosshairs completely unexpected. Doto's got to be so frustrated. There's no way he would have expected anybody to just be sat waiting to spray him down. And now Saw, 14 HP, 30 seconds left on the clock. He doesn't really stand a chance in this round. Just trying to find some sort of opener, maybe catch a player out of position. But the worst case seems to be just going to try and save his gun.
Picks up the orb, as well as a smoke. I guess that's something that will help his teammates. But HAVU need all the help they can get right now, as they fall 11-2 behind. Again, just been a very slow game from HAVU. We've seen them try rounds where they've grouped up and hit sites fairly early and together. In those sorts of rounds, it seems like Hard Legion get aggressive and get the information and get the rotations down. And then when HAVU try and slow it down, they either lose the opening trades or they just don't spot the aggression that Hard Legion go for. So it's just all been going wrong for them so far on the HAVU side of things. And with 2 rounds left in this first half, Rage will be peeking connector again. Hard Legion have got away with a lot from this connector position so far. Krad is sticking around here in party, which, again, is a very risky position to be playing from. It's another different spot that he hasn't played so far, though, so it might catch HAVU out. And you can see Saw's got a nade in his hands. He's not ready for it. Krad with the first kill. Another new position for him to be playing from, and he's looking for more here. ZOREE eventually gets the trade, and this time they do take Krad out of the action.
Hoody as well has just burst his way into the B site. Doesn't expect kinqie to be so close. Doto, though, on the edge. Keeps things with an advantageous position for HAVU. They're going to go on a full rotation back towards the B site, and rightly so, because they have a player already in the spot waiting. The remaining CT players, I wonder if they're just going to save if the bomb goes down on the other side of the map. Maybe just hoping that HAVU are going to completely mind game themselves out of this round and rotate back into position. Instead, I would quite like to see them just hold on to their guns.
Yeah, unless you can get a clear line of sight with the orb and maybe land an early shot, it doesn't feel too likely for you. And like you were saying, even though it's ahead of the last round of the half, it's not like they have all the money in the world on the CT side. Rage looking for information, baits out the shot. svyat will come in to look for a fight of his own, but now both CTs have been spotted. at this point, it's so difficult to win these fights, and Rage especially realizes there's no way he's winning this. He looks to back away. I don't think he needs to stick around for these fights, but he gets another kill at the end there. That could maybe impact HAVU's money slightly ahead of the last round of the half, but the most important thing is saving this AWP, which is why he doesn't need to go for this peek. That actually might lead to ZOREE dying to the bomb if he's not careful. I think he gets far enough away. No, he actually dies to the bomb. So now HAVU, well, they do get to save an AWP. Oh no,
Oh,
why? Why? What are you doing? Oh, man.
Oh, I bet he's never felt more stupid in his entire life. Gets the ult back and then throws it away, and now they can't afford one anymore. In fact, he now has to buy himself a gun, and Saw will be left on a Galil. They've basically just destroyed their own economy. It is worth noting that they did kill off the AWP from Rage, so the CT side economy is also going to be trash. In fact, this is going to be one of the worst final buy rounds I think you'll ever see. We didn't need a replay of that. I appreciate the fact that the Observer team are so fast at getting those replays done, but I did not need to see that again.
I feel like that's the fastest replay we've seen all tournament. That's the funniest thing.
Well, 11-3. I don't know who's taking the tactical pause here, because I think they both could probably use one. kinqie's invested into an XM, which is something you always like to see. I imagine he's going to be either playing B or the connector. If he's on the A site, I think he might have lost the plot a little bit. For the remainder of the squad, though, the money's still not going to be in a good position. I think they might be talking through what to actually do here, because Krad still has some extra money. Obviously, he's got to buy Kevlar before he can do anything else, but maybe he'll be dropping an SMG or another shotgun or even a scout just to give them something to play with. The T's definitely will come in with a slightly better buy, but the risks that were taken definitely didn't seem worth it. They end up with one player surviving when they could have just had three, and the CT side probably would have still had the AWP, but that would have been the only real bonus for them. So it definitely seems like cutting off your nose to spite your face, but we'll see whether or not they're going to be able to take that fourth.
I wonder if HAVU have called for a technical pause. Because, like, he's going to pretend, oh, my keyboard, guys, my keyboard
Maybe someone, spilt some water on their keyboard again, like yesterday.
Exactly.
Sippy cups. That's what the guys need. I'm sure there's probably a more sensible, like, a water bottle, but sippy cups, I think, are much safer.
Yeah, sometimes water bottles can leak.
Yeah.
You never know.
Whereas, if you can't be trusted, that's what you end up with, a sippy cup. So, either way, I can hear some sounds which tell me that this is going to be unpaused, and we will see the final round of the half. Of course, Hard Legion going into the T side, as said, they've got their star performer missing, but thus far they really haven't needed him. forZe's probably sat at home watching, going, okay guys, don't do too well. I don't want to be replaced. But they're making this look very, very easy. And now looking to try and close this round out. Their buy's not even that much worse than their opposition. Rage has got to be careful. He's going to be flashed off the angle and actually opts to fall back into the connector instead and lands that first shot. The second one just runs into the exact same angle. Fool me once, they say, but that was twice and a third time, in fact. I'm not even sure what happens if you fool someone 3 times in a row. Just shame. Just shame. Nice flashbang, though. kinqie, no matter what gun he had there, would have been dead to rights. Maybe a Negev would have been able to cover the angle just enough. And Doto actually just tries to run onto the site and plant the bomb. Connector control has been firmly under the CT's control for the majority of this round. He's left with just 38 HP. Tries to bait somebody into the angle. In fact, he's almost successful with it. You can see svyat start to run towards the site, but they're being patient, realizing they don't actually have to take any risks in this scenario.
There we go. Doto with the first, make it a second. Fast kills from Doto, but he doesn't know where this last man is, and he's looking the completely wrong way. Krad is continuing to play safe, but Doto's going to have a tough time figuring this out. He's still got 30 seconds left on the clock. And one more fake plant will be the attempt. Krad's still just sitting, though. Finally, Doto commits to it, but this is where Krad comes in from short, and Doto is not looking the right way, but now he knows. He jumps away, he gets back to safety, and Krad has to win this fight, and he will. Puts him down through the wall. Great effort from Doto there. It looked impossible, but he made it as close as it could have been. He put himself in a winnable position, but it's not enough. Hard Legion come away with 12 rounds from their CT side. And we were saying, Tom, we think that they're probably going to have a tougher time on their T half. But when you get 12 rounds from your CT side, you should really be able to close it out from here.
Yeah, and they've had every single player on their team playing well. Like, the lowest is 12, top is 15. So that's almost perfect. That's exactly what you want to see on the board, is having every player performing. And one of the better players we saw over the last couple of days was Hoody, and he is having a bit of a rough one today. So hoping that we'll see him step up on train, or maybe at a minimum in the second half. The only thing that I will say that infuriates me about that round is, in any other round, I can understand trying to deny the bomb plant. That was the last round of the half. So they could have just waited for him to plant the bomb. Then they know his rough area on the site, and then they just push it all together. It's a very easy round. Instead, they actually gave a very good chance for HAVU to take themselves a fourth round. And you might be saying 11-4 half still pretty good, but I feel like 11-4 makes the comeback a lot easier. 12-3, a pistol needed. What is going on today, HAVU? What's happening?
Ooh, that is not good. I'm just going to say not good so that I refrain from saying anything worse. Hoody's been stabbed in the back. He's down to 39 health before the round is even underway. And, oh man, Saw's just left the B site at entirely the wrong time. The smokes come in. Saw spots some players out, but Krad's got a kill elsewhere with the assist coming in from sLowi. ZOREE's in a great spot here, though. They don't actually know he's here. They don't realize he's in for the fast flank, but the bomb is planted safely. So Hard Legion get that down. That was the main thing they needed. And now the onus is on HAVU to start this retake.
Trying to watch for his position. sLowi also coming in on the flank. Nice shot to kill off one. The thing is, there's two desperately low players, so it's mainly down to the remainder coming in from behind, and they've done it. That was a very good retake for HAVU. Killing off every single member. ZOREE and sLowi doing their job to perfection. And they are going to get a fourth round, but I do wonder if we're going to see a fourth straight back in for Hard Legion to try and break them with the Galils and AK.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Especially with how Hard Legion normally play. They are still making up their minds, and they're actually taking the safer approach by the looks of things, just going for the half buy. This is the nice thing, though, when you get the bomb planted on the pistol like that, you can still afford to buy up some pistols in this next round. Even if you're not going to go for the full-on investment, you're going to get pistols at a minimum. And that gives you the opportunity to try and do some damage, or maybe even steal away a round if you can land some really good shots. It's ZOREE who's landed the first shots of this one, though. Good kill onto Throne, and ZOREE goes for further aggression. He is below half health, so this feels a little bit risky from ZOREE, but he's got the timing right. Hard Legion have moved away from this position. Although, as soon as I say that, they're moving back, but I don't think they're ready for ZOREE. This should be a freebie. Right in the back of the head.
Again, it's all about damage. Not really a round you can expect to see Hard Legion win, and they're just being picked apart by all of these off-angle positions being utilized by HAVU. So it is going to be 12-5. Decent round coming up for the Finns as they do make themselves some finances and look to get themselves a pretty good buy into this next round. I'm hoping we'll see something dropped for sLowi as well, just to make sure it's perfect. Because at this point, you just got to try and fight everything back. There's no point like holding back some punches and trying to make some cash. This is all about getting those rounds onto the board. And for Hard Legion, well, they've got the AKs earlier than you would have expected with all of that utility. This is their moment to break the Finns.
Yeah, if Hard Legion win here, their chances of winning on Overpass skyrocket to nearly 100%, I'd say. Certainly above 90% at this point if they were to win this one with how far ahead they are already. That is relying on them winning this round, though. If they lose this, then HAVU can start to mount that comeback. Krad is continuing to do Krad things, solo pushing through bathrooms, but in this game, he's got a pretty good read on his opponents, it feels, and once again, he's got the right read. HAVU haven't got anyone in the bathrooms itself. They've got a man playing on long, but not someone watching the proper position. So he's able to sneak on up. He's able to sneak closer to the site. And this is where Krad, if he gets the timing right, could get a kill, which turns the round into chaos for the CTs. Aggression's coming in. svyat has to be careful. He spots that first man out. Krad is continuing to play close on the site, but svyat's the man looking for kills. And oh, hoody lines up too. Over on the B side of the map is where we see the initial action. And now I feel like these players on A have to go for fights. But Krad is in a position to get one kill. And they actually think they have access to A, but ZOREE could drop the bomb here. Oh no. He should drop the bomb here.
Yeah, Rage is just running past. This should be a very easy kill for him. A little bit dicier than he might have liked, but no real issue. I'm a bit surprised that Hard Legion have made such a catastrophic error of just leaving the bomb alone, allowing it to be run through, and that's all too easy for them to clean up the remaining frags. I imagine Krad's just going to look to try and hold onto his rifle, but it's going to leave him in a bit of an awkward spot in comparison to the rest of the team, and in fact, he will end up dying. It's 12-6, HAVU with a few decent rounds now on their CT side as they look to build into things.
It will be pistols once more for Hard Legion. Again, the scary thing for me, from HAVU's perspective, is that that was another round where Krad found the gap in the defense. So if Hard Legion can continue that, if Krad can make the most of that, then I could see him opening up some future rounds. But that time, just losing the fights on B put them in such a bad spot to begin with. If they didn't lose both of those players on B, they would have had another man helping the bomb go back towards A. But it was the bomb alone, which is really what costed them in the end there. And Doto gets away with a quick kill in connector. ZOREE with one of his own. These pistols not doing a whole lot of anything here in this round. svyat unable to connect on his shots. So it looks like another quick and clean round for HAVU. And winning this one convincingly will be nice for them because they don't have too much cash right now. So if they could survive with all 5, that would be ideal.
Yeah, pretty much the perfect way to keep everything going. Of course, for the T's in this round, I think they're just waiting to see if anybody will get over aggressive, will take a risk and hand them a kill. Although it looks fairly unlikely. svyat being given a couple of individual duels, but not really able to take the shot, and I think Throne has just been spotted as well, so chances are not really going to see anything in this round for Hard Legion, and as said, it's a bit of a worry. I think this is the one side of the map where forZe does most of the heavy lifting. I think it's where he's actually a world-class player at playing the T side of Overpass, especially with his individual skills. So to just have that disappear, something that you would be used to, something that will give a certain players, for example Krad, a lot more space if someone's just able to go over to the B side of the map, especially B short, and find an opener. If that's just completely removed, it's very easily going to change the dynamic of this T side for Hard Legion. And HAVU, well, they've already got themselves exactly what they desire to continue to string rounds back.
Yeah, and some of the HAVU players are looking much improved heading into this second half. ZOREE's continued to land shots, but some of the other guys have been helping out, hoody being one of them, and Saw is there to combine with his teammate for 2 early kills. Again, the CTs just getting all the early frags. Hard Legion can't let this happen in these gun rounds. They are just losing out so early on. They tried to fight for short, but the nades weren't good enough to win those battles. And good round from HAVU as well in terms of having 4 players stacked on B, which set them up for the aggression in the first place. But at this point, I don't really see Hard Legion winning this round unless Krad does something absolutely crazy. And I mean that in a positive way, not a negative way, which happens sometimes with Krad. I also don't know why Rage is leaving the bomb behind at this point. Like, you're in a 2v5. I don't think you want to be leaving the bomb all the way back there.
Maybe had a few flashbacks to dropping it a couple of rounds ago. Already, though, this is an impossible scenario for him. HAVU's still not really overfacing, just basically trying to set themselves up with utility and make sure that there's absolutely no way he gets back into this round. And I'm going to be jumping over the top, a bit risky. Even still, Rage isn't going to be hitting anything, so 20 odd seconds left, and they are just waiting for him to go for the push. If anything, killing him after time would be ideal, but I don't think they're just going to throw away their weapons in order to do that. Nice shot from Rage to at least get one, but Saw is very quick on the trade. So 12-8, a long streak of rounds coming back for HAVU, sorry. Oh, you got an angle from inside the truck. I feel like I'm a truck driver now.
The truck is smoking, unfortunately, so I don't think you're driving this truck anywhere.
Smoking kills.
Exactly.
Especially for trucks.
Sure. Rage is really saving hard in this round to get that AWP. I think he probably could have afforded to buy Kevlar, but he goes with just the Deg for this round, and these pistols haven't done much for Hard Legion. Then again, their gun rounds haven't done much either. And it's another round where ZOREE is able to get the early pick on mid. That's been a bit of an issue for Hard Legion. They haven't really been able to gain ground there in a lot of these rounds. Krad moving through the connector smoke. Might be able to try and get a player falling back, but the timing's not quite right for him. HAVU have just decided to play safe. And again, Krad's going to be over on the A side of the map while his teammates start to move into B. That initial flashbang forced the CTs away, and this is where the rotate does come in. So Krad had the chance to try and land a shot on a player in transition, but unfortunately he's unable to connect.
He's almost just being the lurker at this point, as some of the members of the team have managed to sneak their way through. All in all, looking very easy once again. svyat will at least get one, but that should be all she wrote. And Krad, well, you're a little bit late to the party. Doesn't even realize that sLowi's already taken this control away, so he's going to be dead the second he rounds the corner. We now get a 9th. Plenty of rounds going in the favor of HAVU at this point, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Hard Legion that they really haven't done anything so far on this T side.
It doesn't feel like they've been able to even play their T side, in all honesty, because they're losing so many early fights is part of the problem. I think maybe it is time to just play a really safe round to begin with. Make sure you don't lose any players early, because so many rounds they've been fighting from a 3v5. They've been fighting from the back foot. ZOREE going for this similar peek into mid, playing from party. Smoke obscuring his vision slightly, but Doto has snuck all the way into playground. This aggression continues from HAVU, and even when they're not getting kills, they're getting a lot of map control. They know that the A side of the map is entirely clear right now, and Doto is not going to push in for the flank. He's just going to hold that position and allow ZOREE to rotate down to B. So HAVU will have a heavy stack on this B site, and if Hard Legion decide to go into B, that's going to be a real issue for them. That was so difficult to deal with.
Doto. Again, it's going to be getting an opener. The aggression from HAVU has just taken so much map control away that Hard Legion are now confined to basically half of the map. Nice shot from svyat, but the trade is, well, almost back just as quickly as the first kill came in, and they are falling like flies at the moment. This is unfortunate for Hard Legion. They just can't get anything done. I thought that missing that one man might make a slight difference. This is night and day. They're struggling to even find kills at this point in time. 25 seconds left on the clock. Eventually Doto is there for the close.
Yeah, HAVU just continued to take away options from Hard Legion in all these rounds. I was saying it earlier, it just doesn't feel like Hard Legion have even had a chance to play any of their game plan, to go for any of the rounds they want to here on the T side. Because the few rounds they have tried to go fast, they've been shut down pretty quickly by HAVU with some early kills going against them. And then when they try and slow it down, they just either lose map control or they fall to the aggression of HAVU. Again, I really like that angle that Doto took in Playground there. There's just a small gap under that little bit of wood where you can see a player. You can just spam them down pretty easily. Does Rage really have the highest ADR on the team, despite being the bottom fragger? That's kind of impressive.
Don't know.
115 ADR feels a bit
like
high.
A lot. Maybe he's been leg shotting a lot of people.
Maybe. He did have 5 assists, which I think is the most on the server. It is just pistols again for Hard Legion, though. And this time, not even full nades. Couple of smokes, couple of flashes for them. We don't see the same mid-aggression from HAVU. We don't see the peak from ZOREE. So at least Hard Legion aren't just falling right from the get-go here in round 23, but they are about to push into this position where Doto can hear all these steps. Flash comes through. Doto hears all these players right now. They must be beginning to rotate. They must be aware it's the A play, but they're not actually rotating anyone onto the A site. A is kind of clear right now. Hard Legion might be able to get that bomb down, but the flank is coming through now.
Already a couple of trades going back and forth. And the bomb at least being planted, but it's not really anything to write home about. Rage, he's looking to pad that ADR stat as he's managed to bring this into a 1 versus 2, retrieve an AK, but doesn't have any armor, and the bomb's just being defused. The spam through, it's connecting some shots, but the shotgun AWP of ZOREE will be there. 12 to 11, it has been a ridiculous streak at this point. 8 rounds in a row for HAVU. Not a single round won this half by Hard Legion, and this would be one hell of a way to let a map slip out of your hands.
Yeah, still not a single T round won for Hard Legion. That has to change. I don't need to tell you that. I think Hard Legion would tell you that themselves. Flash going over to A long. HAVU is starting to play a bit safer now. Now that this game is getting closer, they're not going for all the aggression they were previously, although they have pushed into B short, which has been another position they've been able to take control of way too often. ZOREE blinded and forced off the angle. Doto's remaining, and the flashbang didn't really do a whole lot by the looks of things. kinqie's taken some damage there, though. Down to 21 health. There's the flashbang going high in the sky, but ZOREE is not able to make the most of it. And now Doto is trapped in these bathrooms, and he's only going to get 1 kill for his troubles.
ZOREE's got to be careful here. Currently the only defender of this site, and a patient position being held by Rage, and because of that there's going to be the trade out, giving them the man advantage. A few counter nades being expended by Saw, who will at least hold on to the side for now, and there's a player rotating, in fact 2 players rotating up through the connector. Seems like the T's are somewhat waiting for it, but with the steps being made from the bomb, they should know this is here. Another shot coming out from Rage as he looks for just a little bit more. He will be closed out eventually, but now Saw is the only one remaining. 25 seconds left on the clock. They brought it so far back, but after such a long streak of rounds, it's looking like Hard Legion are going to get one of their own. 13 to 11, game back on, but of course there's so much money for HAVU that the pain train might not be stopping just yet.
Yeah, and with this comeback coming in for HAVU here on their opponent's pick, the odds over on Unicorn have swung in their favor. They are now the favorites, and even if they end up losing this map, just seeing a better performance from the players would definitely give me confidence for the rest of the series. But right now, Overpass is definitely hanging in the balance. And I wonder if we'll see ZOREE go back for his aggressive stance. Last time he played it safe, this time he's going back for the mid-aggression, which has been very successful for him so far. Hard Legion not fighting him too heavily at the start of the round, but the flashbang again forces him away. Couple of nice flashes there from Hard Legion just to make sure that AWP had no way of getting a kill early in the round.
Yeah, that's something they've really struggled to deny, as HAVU have had a man advantage in a lot of the early stages of this map. Boost over the top.
This boost.
Don't think anything's really going to be spotted though. Throne playing such a passive angle. It does leave them quite vulnerable to the connector, but nothing's been spotted around that spot just yet. The T's, in fact, have gone completely through long, and this could end up working out for Hard Legion. Doto was in a good position, but he's been forced off the angle, starting to utilize all of their grenades to force back the HAVU players that have been in such aggressive positions. However, with nothing really being spotted over towards B, they have decided to bolster that A-side defense. ZOREE is going to kick things off with a kill onto Rage, and kinqie forced back through. A missed shot from ZOREE. He's now trapped in the corner. Is he really going to use the incendiary to try and get out of there, or just Use this flashbang instead. The Molotov forces him out, but he hits the shot anyway. His teammates have helped shut this one down and now thrown the stand-in for today. May just have to try and save this orb, but there's already a player watching the angle. Makes it past. Actually goes for the repeat. A little bit risky and will kill off Doto. Looks for the second. The tag's hit, but he doesn't quite manage to kill off anyone else. HAVU get rid of that AWP, but the finances for Hard Legion are enough to buy one anyway.
Yeah, Hard Legion there, taking a lot of time in that round. And even though they had nades left towards the last 30 seconds or so, I don't think they used a single one of their smokes, or at least they didn't come into play in the round because HAVU got so many of the kills so early. Just felt like HAVU had the exact read on the situation as they rotated one man up to A. That boost over on B gave them confidence that it wasn't going to be the B-sided aggression. And I think that's something that Hard Legion have to change. They've got to start winning that fight for B short. Otherwise, HAVU are going to have a lot of information and are probably going to have these rotations on point, as they have been so far in this game. And oh, ZOREE peeking up connector at just the right time. kinqie completely caught out, and Krad has just walked through a smoke straight into the open arms of Doto, who will take that kill all day long.
Yeah, we're finally seeing the performance from ZOREE that we've been wanting to see over the last few days. Absolutely destroying Hard Legion in this CT half. svyat still with control of the bomb, but you can see he's starting to panic about all these different angles that the HAVU players might be pressing. Already thrown is going to fall, and now Rage is trying to find an opening into this B site. The problem is, even if he cuts off one head of HAVU, or maybe one leaf, there's still going to be plenty more growing back. In fact, they've got 3 players ready and waiting. svyat going to try and make his way down long. A bomb plant would definitely be beneficial, but that is as clinical as it gets from HAVU. They don't take a single point of damage in round 26. And now just 3 more, and they've made what looked like an impossible comeback a reality.
Yeah, and the biggest issue for Hard Legion here, I think, has just been that inability to take and hold map control here on the T side. A lot of the rounds they're either losing B short, where HAVU can just realize it's not going to be a B play and can start to rotate early, or they're just losing that fight at mid. They're losing these mid battles, and then from there, HAVU are just aware that it's not going to be the A play. So HAVU just have a lot of information in most of these rounds where they know where to rotate, they know where to position themselves. This time ZOREE's been forced away from the bathrooms, and this is more of what we... people love knifing their teammates this map, Tom.
I'm going to be honest, that looked like he did that on purpose. Like, I know that most of the time that's not the case, but he turned around, walked into his teammate, and then it looked like a sort of like, get out my way stab. So, I don't know, maybe there's just some tilt coming in for Hard Legion. Maybe I'm just reading into it a little bit too much, but...
Yeah, just because you stab your teammates like that in matchmaking, Tom, doesn't mean that pros do it too.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Okay.
I'm sure that there have been a few rage knives every once in a while. I still remember there was a guy who I'm pretty sure got banned from a tournament for trolling. He like TK'd his teammate and let the bomb go off.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sure someone else remembers that. There's a lot of historians in the chat. Here we go. Doto coming under fire. It is going to be a trade for Saw, but the T's actually doing a relatively decent job. ZOREE now caught in a bit of an awkward position, worried about the pressure coming in from long, but luckily sLowi is there alongside him. And HAVU, after a 12-3 deficit, if you heard that correctly, a 12-3 deficit, and now winning 14-13. What a phenomenal CT side. Like, Colin, that looks like he did that on purpose, right? Be honest, like, not as a commentator or as someone who's got to be impartial. That looked like he did that on purpose.
Well, no, well, what happened was he started moving back, and then he realized there was someone behind him because he stopped, and then he was like, maybe it's an enemy.
If you had to bet £100, and it was on purpose or not on purpose,
I would bet on not on purpose.
You're a liar.
I'm not a liar.
You're a liar.
It's 13-13 in an important game in the Hellcase Cup.
Alive, chat.
I don't think he'd knife his teammate on purpose. I don't think Krad's that kind of guy.
Oh, here we go. The boost is coming back. Don't think it was spotted last time, so
no.
Potential. Unfortunately, it seems like Throne is playing this very passively.
It's still good information, though, especially because you know that B short's clear as well. That's part of the reason why HAVU have just been able to rotate up. Like in that previous round, the kills looked pretty good for Hard Legion to begin with, but it was just the fast rotations that made the difference. So if you can just hold on to both short and monster with that boost, you can probably rotate a third man up to A pretty quickly, assuming the round timer ticks down. I think I heard some chatter there, but I just assume we're still playing. Chatter really threw me off, but we're still going by the looks of things. You've got to play till the whistle. And ZOREE's got a good angle and a good shot while blind.
A very nice shot for him. There has already been damage done, of course, so the rules suggest that you would continue, although it should always be played on a case-by-case basis, really. But here we go. Push going to be coming through. ZOREE, second shot connected. This man has hit his 30 bomb. His KD is over 2. He's been having a ridiculous resurgence in this match. Exactly what they needed. He's been unstoppable as he gets 4 kills from the ace. I'm guessing it was the drop coming out from the side of Hard Legion. But that is absolute filth. Technically, I'm going to give him the ace because the other player has disappeared.
I think that counts. Well, yeah, what technically is an ace? It's just when you kill all the opponents on the other team, right?
I guess. I would.
But then,
say
like,
that
if you're playing wingman and you get 2 kills, are you just
it
like?
Does
yeah,
say it does say ace.
Okay.
But I would go ahead and say that if it's below 4, I'm not accepting it.
That's fair.
But I think 4, and also just the manner of the way he just whipped it out and slapped them back into the ground was very impressive. This is stylish. That's the sort of dude that wears the freshest clothes.
Maybe it's HAVU who should have got the Gucci sponsorship.
To be fair, with their team colors, it might have actually looked like a better watch. Like, if of course, if Gucci or Fnatic want to give me one for free, I promise it definitely won't end up on eBay to sell to some dude who's going to pay me an extortionate amount of money for it. But if you ask me to wear it, you would then have to pay me an additional amount of money because it looks like a, you know, like a Dora the Explorer watch when you're like 9. Like, where they've just put loads of, like, colorful things instead of the time because you can't tell the time anyway. Although if you're 9, you probably should be able to tell the time. But you kind of look down and go, oh, look, it's fish o'clock. Like, that's what that watch looks like to me. But hey, if they can sell it, if they can market, I'm sure Fnatic seem to make moves though. It's like, although they're not necessarily sponsorship, I would want to wear.
Were they the ones with the Hello Kitty ones?
They were.
Yeah.
So they're making some cool moves, and I always respect that when, like, especially with esports companies where they've been able to basically get recognition from these big brands. That's cool. So I want to see more stuff like that as well. Like some of the awesome like food sponsor. I remember there was a DreamHack that had a sponsorship with Chipotle, and they had like a Chipotle lounge.
Oh wow!
So you just went over there and just got free food. Like that's dope. Like stuff like that. That might just be the fat guy who likes free food talking. But you know, I'm always gonna accept stuff. That's awesome to get companies like that getting involved in esports. So yeah.
You know what, Tom? As the fat guy who likes free food, if you could choose one restaurant to get free food at for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Oh.
The thing is, you should probably choose an expensive one at that point, right? Like a nice steak place or something. No.
Oh, I'm trying.
Oh god, he's doing research. He's pulled out the phone for this. This is serious mode for Tom.
Yeah. Probably TGI's. I like a TGI's.
Right.
But the thing is, I only eat the sesame chicken strips.
Those are good.
It's the best thing on the menu by a mile. Like I've eaten so many different things there, and it's just like they're all disappointing. And so I now get that as a main course because
of course.
Because otherwise there's no point.
I'm right there with you.
But also, like if it was free for life, then if I ever wanted to go get drunk, which obviously drink responsibly, to get some banging cocktails for free, I'm not going to say no to that. Either way, that's enough waffling. Of course, well, although I did find that fun, we were doing that because there was a player dropped from the server. So much money on the side of HAVU. This has been one of the most dominating half I've ever seen in Counter-Strike. They, so far, have lost 1 round. which is pretty impressive. And it's not like that they had a very good first half as well. They only got 3 rounds on the first half, so they are looking for a pretty banging scoreline. Try and close this one out. Back to basics though for Hard Legion as they rush into the B site. sLowi has just dismantled them. Hoody's alongside him. They're looking to close out their opponent's map choice. It started so well for Hard Legion. Maybe they can drag this one back. Krad, a nice couple of shots, will turn this into a close situation. Make that dead even as he's found 3 kills back into this round. A 4th for Krad. I can't even tell if he's toggled at this point because this is ridiculous. And Doto's just sat there thinking, you know what, I don't want to be the one to peek this man at this point. A 1v2, still possible for the Finn to bring this one back. The bomb in the hands of the man looking for the ace. Can be fake planting this one out as the rotation still coming through. Even looking to try and go back towards Monster. This might be the pure bamboozle that the T side weren't expecting. Initially, they could have rotated back, but the shot's not quite as clean. Krad going to be peeking, and he gets the ace. What a round to keep Hard Legion in this match. He knifed his teammate to steal his energy, and now he's thrown it into this round.
Yeah, I thought the comeback train was about to arrive at its final destination, but Krad has delayed that slightly. These are some unreal shots. This shot at heaven, that was against an AWPer. Then this one, again, it's such a tight angle that he's having to work with. But it's all headshots up until this point, and then at the end, he just gets the timing right on the peak, on the right side of the pillar, and Hard Legion aren't done yet. Krad keeps them in contention ahead of round number 30. ZOREE's going back for this mid-aggression, though. This has been very successful, and it works again. kinqie not using any nades, unable to get round the corner safely, and ZOREE gives his team a good opportunity to try and close this out. A clean 5v4, and Hard Legion still have to work if they want overtime.
So Krad didn't even have head armor in that round. Because he doesn't have it now, so that means he can't have had it in that round. That makes that just that little bit more disgusting. ZOREE's still looking to try and get aggressive. Look, when you're 33 and 15, do what you like, mate. Like,
0 assists as well.
Go aggressive. He doesn't need assists. Exactly. He's killing everyone. He doesn't need those excuses of, oh, I could have had a 40 bomb by now. It's like, no, I'm going to get there on my own. Which, well, that would mean they have to go to overtime. So maybe he'll be hoping not to do that. An uncharacteristic miss. Almost gets taken down by Krad, who looks to try and continue his reign of terror from the last round. I'm going to have the smokes going in. Saw blocking that one out to give himself a little bit of an extra gap. However, the kill coming in onto Doto on the flank actually makes things a little bit more interesting. They might look to rotate back. I think sLowi may have actually seen things here, and they saw him back in return. The spam's not enough, though. Again, it looks like a player's going to go huge for HAVU, and the incendiary will deny just enough time for the rotation. ZOREE does not miss, and now svyat needs a triple to keep them in the map. Otherwise, they will have thrown away a massive lead, and that's exactly the case. It will be HAVU taking the first map. Not something I thought I'd be saying when they were 12-3 down. What an unreal comeback.
Yeah, the comeback train has finally arrived at the station, Tom. Choo-choo. That's the sound of a train.
I'm just not going to face you for the rest of this
Okay, look, Tom's gone over there. I can tell you, though, that was a very impressive game from ZOREE, especially.
Can't look in your eyes
anymore. No? Okay. Well, you didn't look in my eyes before anyway, Tom. Let's be real. No, this was a great comeback from HAVU, though. And as much as Hard Legion had a bunch of rounds where I feel like their team play and their decision-making wasn't ideal, I just liked how HAVU played pretty aggressively at the start of the half just to get themselves into this position, just to deny Hard Legion in the first place. And then they started to just show that confidence. And, I mean, these rounds from the first half are feeling like a long time ago at this point if you're a Hard Legion fan.
Yeah, this highlight reel almost seems like a different match. Because sure there were a few kills coming up for the side of HAVU, but it was mostly just domination. Like both AWPers doing a great work on the CT side, and it came down to like, a lot of small margins. But the fact is, we saw so many incredible rounds. I think that was the big thing that made this match so exciting. Although it was very one-sided on either half, there were a lot of rounds where there were like 1v3s that almost happened or did happen. The ace from Krad was disgusting. Like, spam shots. They're giving me more ammunition as they go through the highlights. Lots and lots of multi-frags, and this man especially. What a second half from him. I want to say he got over 20 kills in the second half.
Why is that in there? Yeah, we can just watch these ZOREE highlights all day, honestly. Some of these were
This
fantastic.
Is a sick round. I think this would have been an ace as well if Rage hadn't dropped from the server. But yeah, and then this was probably the best of the lot. So clinical from Krad. Unfortunate that it wasn't enough to take the team over the line. Half the players he's shooting at, I couldn't even see. So, and that's with X-ray on as well. And then this final shot at the end. Very, very nice round, and sLowi even closing out with a sexy double even when they knew he was there. So, yeah, all in all, a very exciting match to watch, but I feel like Hard Legion might have just missed their opportunity because they, even with their full team when they played Train the other day, they struggled. They just about scraped it through. A great comeback from them versus Endpoint. And this was the map where I had at least a little bit more faith in them. Krad with 9 entry kills as well. That's an impressive start to a lot of rounds, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to drag them through. And ZOREE, of course, right at the top of the board by quite a significant margin, even with like, a significantly less deaths as well. But yeah, I do worry now. I think going into Train, I heavily favor HAVU. I think it's a map that they've looked good on. It's a map that they've pretty much kept in their map pool for quite a while, and it's one that I think will be relatively difficult to just slot in a stand-in. I don't think that's something that's going to be easily done. But luckily, we don't have to sit and guess for too much longer. There is going to be a break, and then we will be back to see if Hard Legion can come back from such a crushing defeat, and whether or not HAVU will win their map choice and get through to the lower bracket finals.